Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Ashtadishatharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Radhanat Radha Radhanat Radhe Jaya Radha Krishna Radha Krishna Radhe Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to this evening's reading session. Let's start off with our introduction prayer in Bhagavad Gita as it is, page 1. All together, please. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gauraki Radhe Vrinda Vrindeshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Paramatma Prabhu, please read the English for us.
Hare Krishna. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with the elder brothers Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadara, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Larita and Vishaka. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of all creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desired trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls. I offer my obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadara, Srivas, and all others in the line of devotion. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so devotees, today we'll start reading from chapter 2, verse 2. In my Bhagavad Gita, it's on page 66, Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, verse 2. My book says page 66. We'll all try and read the Sanskrit together, and we'll have turns to read the English. I'm going to see how far we can go, because today is also a very important day. It's Ashadi Ekadashi. So I would like to, if time permits at the end, to tell you all a little story about the celebration of Ashadi Ekadashi in Sri Dham Pandharpur. Okay, so let us start. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Putastva Kashmalam Midam Vishame Samupastitam Anarjutstam Ashvargyam Akirti Karamarjuna. Okay, so Shalina Mataji, you want to start reading for us, please?
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy." Purport. Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. Bhagavan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman, or the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma, or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, this concept of the absolute truth is explained thus. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These three divine...
Sorry, Mataji, can we just halt there for a little bit? I just want to go back to this. If you all will recall, in our earlier classes, we spoke briefly on Brahman and Paramatma. So Paramatma is a super soul situated within the hearts of all living entities, remember? And Brahman is that effulgence that we spoke about. That's just outside the material sphere before you enter into the spiritual world. Okay, it's the effulgence of Krishna. Okay, go on, Mataji.
These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced, and one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk which is compared to the knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or the transcendentalists who have realized that the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists, although all students who are engaged in the study of the absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter. The sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another, and yet the students of the three different phases are not in the same category. The Sanskrit word Bhagavan is explained by the great authority Parashara Muni, the father of Vyasadeva, the supreme personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called Bhagavan. There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached, but no one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strengths, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is the supreme personality of Godhead. No living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. Therefore, it is concluded in the Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma himself that Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is the primeval Lord, or Bhagavan, known as Govinda, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. In the Bhagavatam, also, there is a list of many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Krishna is described as the original personality of Godhead, from whom many, many incarnations and personalities of Godhead expand. All the lists of the incarnations of Godhead submitted herewith are either plenary expansions or parts of the plenary expansions of the Supreme Godhead. But Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God himself. Therefore, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, the source of both the Supersoul and the impersonal Brahman. In the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming, and therefore Krishna expressed his surprise with the word kuta, where from. Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryas. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagavan, and they are captivated by eternal features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. Lord Krishna did not approve of the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsman. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. I know this was quite a long purport. A lot of points to note there. You know, here it's Prabhupada said, let me just go to Prabhupada's notes. Prabhupada says that Krishna is addressed here as Bhagavan, right? You see, when you say Bhagavan Uvacha, it's not said Krishna Uvacha, it's saying Bhagavan Uvacha, because Krishna has that position of Bhagavan. So therefore, Sanjaya addressed him as such, right? And so in this sense, we can actually refer to Sanjaya as being an Aryan. Arya is a noble person. Arya is a civilized person, as Prabhupada says in the purport, an intelligent person. An intelligent person knows who God is. So therefore, Sanjaya, being intelligent or a noble Aryan, addressed Krishna as Bhagavan. Therefore, it says here, when Sanjaya is relating to Dhritarashtra what's happening on the battlefield, he said, "Oh, dear king, Bhagavan spoke," referring to Krishna, right? So, yeah, and Prabhupada still quoted in the text here from Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachitananda Vigraha, Anadhir Adhir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. So, he said, there are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is a supreme person, and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Prabhupada also points out here, I want to take you back to the text. What makes Krishna stand out? What makes him different from everyone else is that he possesses all 6 opulences in full. His incarnations possess opulences as well, but not in full. Krishna has them all in full. See, it says here, I'm trying to find that quickly. Where is that text? Can somebody help me find that spot? Where Prabhupada is talking about Krishna's opulences. He's got, I just want to point it out to you all. Here. See, Krishna possesses the Supreme Personality who possesses all riches. He's got all the wealth. He's the strongest. He's most famous. He's most beautiful. Remember, we spoke about the meaning of the word Krishna, the name Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. So he's most beautiful. He's all knowledgeable. And he's the biggest renunciant. Krishna is not attached to anything. Therefore, he has the title of Bhagavan. That's actually very important for us to note. And then also, if you look at, just to give an example, if we take like a corporate world, right? And we look at the structure, we have the boss right at the top. Let's call him the CEO, right? He owns this whole company. He owns the business. Then he's got his managers in charge. He doesn't have to be present there all the time. His managers can run the company and direct the workers, provide the necessities. But he would always report to the boss, right? The CEO, because he is the controlling person. He is the controlling power in this whole scheme. Likewise, Krishna is like that CEO. He doesn't have to be present all the time and get involved in every mundane matter because he is the boss. He can spend his time in the spiritual world. Of course, he's in all our hearts as Paramatma, we know that, but he expands himself. But in his original form, he can spend his time enacting beautiful pastimes in the spiritual world. He can have a picnic. He can go out with the cowherd boys. He can do all sorts of things at his leisure because he is the CEO. Makes sense? He is the boss. And then he has all his managers, all our devtas, who are running the different sections of creation, like the sun and the moon and the rain and the wind and so forth. Does that make sense? Okay, Paramatma Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji, it does. Thank you.
Okay, right. So let's move to the next verse. Verse 3. Kelbyam asmagamaha partha naitatpati upapatyate kshudram hirdaya daurlabhyam yakvotista parantapa Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ravindra Prabhu, would you like to read this verse?
Hare Krishna Mataji, okay. Clavyam ma smagamaha partha netatva upapadyate chudram hridaya dorvalyam tyaktyottishta parantapa.
The English, please, Prabhu, if you don't mind. O son of Pritha.
O son of
You see it on the
Pritha,
screen.
yes. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weaknesses of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy.
Okay. You want to read the purport, Prabhu?
All right. So the purport says Arjuna was addressed as the son of Pratha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only. And if the son of a Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmana in name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives, but Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so here again, Krishna is saying to Arjuna that, what, Arjuna, you are not performing your duty. You are being weak at heart. So you need to just rise and do what, as we explained in all the previous verses, Arjuna is a Kshatriya and he needs to do his duty. He needs to stand up and fight. And we've discussed the reasons for this in detail previously. So Krishna here is continuing to encourage Arjuna to perform his duty. Okay, so let's read the next verse. Arjuna Uvacha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Arjuna Uvacha Katam Bhishmam Aham Shanke Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishubhihi Pariyotsyami Pujarhavari Shudana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kadruta Mataji, you'd like to read for us? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma or Drona, who are worthy of my worship? Purpose. Sorry, Mataji, I am from the phone, and it's very,
okay.
very respectable superior of life. Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counterattacked. It is general etiquette that superiors and are not to be offers even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Then, how is it possible for Arjuna to counterattack them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather Ugrasena or his teacher Sandipani Muni? There were some of the arguments offered by Arjuna to Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So you see, Arjuna is going on to pose very strong arguments here. He says, these are my elders, Krishna. So how can I kill them? That's not befitting of a gentleman to argue and kill his elders. They're worthy of my worship. So he goes on to pose very strong arguments, right? Let's go on to the next verse. Verse 5. Gun atvahi mahanubhavan shreyo bhuktum bhakishya api haloke. Okay, sorry, devotees, let's start that again. Guruna hatvahi mahanubhavan shreya bhuktum bhakshiyam api haloke. Hatvarta kamam sa tu guru nihaiva vunjiya bhogan rudira pratikdhan. Who wants to read for us next? Do you have any volunteers to read? Ash Prabhu? Hare Krishna, Ash Prabhu?
He's not with me, Mataji.
Okay. Paramatma Prabhu, you can read them.
Sorry, Maji, which chapter, which text?
Text 5, we just did text 5.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers, even though desiring worldly gain. They are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Purport, Prabhu?
Purport. According to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance. Although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. But Arjuna thinks that nevertheless, they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils tainted with blood.
Thank you, Prabhu. So you see here, Krishna goes on to tell us, Prabhupada explains to us in the purport that according to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in abominable action has lost the sense of, if your superior has lost his sense of discrimination, he is fit to be abandoned. That is permitted according to this purport. Right, let's move to the next verse. Verse 6. Nachetad vidamaha kartarana garibyo yadvajayema yadivanujayahu yaneva hatvana jijivashmash devashtita pramukhetratrastraha. So here it goes on to say, it means, nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. So Arjuna is going on now on his point. So the purport here says that Arjuna did not know whether he should fight at a risk and risk unnecessarily violence, although fighting is the duty of a Kshatriya, or whether he should refrain and live by begging. If he did not conquer the enemy, begging would be his only means of sustenance. Nor was there certainty of victory because either side might emerge victorious. So you see how Arjuna is getting all confused now. Even if victory awaited them and their cause was justified. Still, if the sons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, it would be very difficult to live in their absence, because what is this now? It's attachment. Remember, we spoke about attachment. Arjuna is feeling that attachment to his cousins. Under the circumstances, that would be another kind of defeat for them. All these considerations by Arjuna definitely proved that not only was he a great devotee of the Lord, but he was also highly enlightened and had complete control over his mind and senses. His desire to live by begging, although he was born in the royal household, is another sign of detachment. So you see, as much as he's attached now, he doesn't want to lose the sons of Dhritarashtra being his cousins, he's also prepared to just give up everything and go and beg. So that in the same breath is showing detachment, because he doesn't want any luxuries of royalty. He was truly virtuous, as these qualities combined with his faith in the words of instruction of Sri Krishna, the spiritual master, indicates. So we're going to see now how Krishna is. It is concluded that Arjuna was quite fit for liberation. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge. And without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. So you see, it's a process. Arjuna was competent in all these attributes, over and above his enormous attributes in his material relationships. So he is now a student ready to take the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. That's what it's leading. And that brings us, dear devotees, to verse 7, which we spoke briefly about in our earlier classes, that this is the turning point of Bhagavad Gita. This is where we see the change in Arjuna and Lord Krishna's relationship. Right? So let's read it all together. Chapter 2, verse 7. Karpanya doso pahata svabhava prachami tvam dharma samudacheta yach shreyasyan nischitan bruhitan me shishyasate sadimam tvam prapanam. So, Kadruta Mataji, you want to read for us, please?
Hare Krishna. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all compassion because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. And now I am your disciple, and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Purport. By nature's own ways, a complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literature advise us to approach a bona fide master to get free from the perplexity of life, which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexity of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Just to go back to this part of the purpose, you see now, Arjuna, how he submits to Krishna. His mood is very humble. He's very confused. And in the verse before this, we saw the qualities of Arjuna, which made him qualified to receive this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. He is humble, and he approached Krishna in a very humble manner, and in a totally surrendered manner. Now, these are qualities that are required to approach a spiritual master. We need to have these kind of qualities in order for us to receive knowledge. So the purport goes on to say, the Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not therefore remain in material perplexities, but should approach spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. Okay, I just want to go to some notes here on Srila Prabhupada's. Prabhupada points out that, as we said, this is the turning point of Bhagavad Gita, because now the knowledge will start flowing. There's a reference made here to Kripanas as well. And Kripanas mean miserly or miserly people. Such people waste their time by being too attached to material matters, to the extent that one thinks that he can actually protect his family members from death. Now, to think that we can protect our family members from even the clutches of death is actually just ridiculous. Yes, we need to protect them in the capacity of parents and brothers and friends and so forth, but there's only a certain extent to which we can go. But to think that you can actually surpass death and you can save them from that as well is actually ridiculous. It's unintelligent. And Prabhupada says here that such kind of thinking are qualities of animals. Intelligent people know better. We know better. Therefore, we have to receive this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita from a bona fide stream, knowledge that streams down in disciplic succession from qualified teachers. So Arjun could not execute his duty due to his miserly weakness, right? His mind was clouded. And you know what? He actually admitted this as well. But that is not a quality of a Kshatri. The quality of a Kshatri is to stand up and do his duty, protect his citizens, right? And fight against the unrighteous people to establish principles of dharma. Shreya, or Arjuna was asking what was good for him. That's what the word Shreya means in this verse. Yat Shreya. See in the third line, Yat Shreya. It means that Arjuna was asking Krishna, what is good for me? Arjuna accepts Krishna as a guru. He is now at this point very surrendered. And their relationship changed from friends to that of guru and disciple at this point in Bhagavad Gita. So the purport makes reference to Krishna being the original spiritual master and Arjuna being the first disciple for understanding Bhagavad Gita. Right? So you can see where it's coming from. Krishna is the original spiritual master. He spoke Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada translated this Bhagavad Gita for us as Krishna spoke it. That's why we refer to this Bhagavad Gita that we are reading from as Bhagavad Gita as it is, because it is as Krishna said it. There's no changes. Sometimes, you get authors that give their own commentaries and tend to change the meaning of what Krishna actually said. But we need to understand exactly what Krishna said, because Krishna said what he said for the purpose, not for us to alter what he said to suit our conveniences. So when confused, then one should approach a superior person. Therefore, Arjuna says, Prichami Tvam. This is his surrender. Prichami Tvam, I surrender unto you. One has to approach Krishna or his representative or guru in order to progress or advance on the spiritual path. So now remember the qualities of a guru. A guru is very attached to Krishna. He's fully Krishna conscious. He's conscious of Bhagavan, right? And if one wants to learn about Krishna consciousness, he has to approach a guru who is fully Krishna conscious, right? So one who has heard from authorities in disciplic succession is a true guru. Now there are 4 sampradayas. In other words, there are successions, disciplic successions. So in other words, there are 4 lines of disciplic successions, right? So I'll tell you briefly about it. So Brahma is the 1 line of disciplic succession. Lord Brahma, you remember we spoke about Chaturmukha Brahma. He's a 4-headed Brahma, 4-faced Brahma in charge of this earthly planet. 1 line of disciples come from him. Another line of disciples come from Lakshmi. Another line comes from Rudra. And another line comes from the Kumaras. And these 4 are authorities. So if you want to tie back real spiritual knowledge, you have to fall in either one of these disciplic successions, either one of these four. There's only four, according to scripture, and it is stated. Then you know you're in the right line. Right, so the ISKCON devotees, we belong to the disciplic succession in the line of Lord Brahma, Brahma Narada, that disciplic succession going down to Lord Chaitanya. And down to Srila Prabhupada, our gurus, Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, and then to us. The method of approach must be humble and full of surrender. Guru is not there, remember, to attend to mundane material matters. Don't go and tell your Guru Maharaj now, having a problem at work, problem with colleagues and with my neighbors and, all of these. He's not interested in that. He is here to give us Krishna. He is here for spiritual purposes, for spiritual advancement. And it is a very serious relationship and meant only for serious practitioners. Serious about spiritual life, approach the Guru, a bona fide Guru, who falls within these lines of disciplic succession. Okay, devotees, we've reached a very important point of Bhagavad Gita, and it's now nearly 7:45. And since it's Shadi Ekadashi, I thought that it's important to just tell you all a little pastime about how the celebration is done in Pandharpur. Is that okay with you all? Can I proceed with that? Okay.
Please, Mataji, thank you.
Okay. Right, let's go to, I got some slides here at the end. Right, can everybody see this up on my screen? This is a picture of the Chandrabhag River, and it is in Sridham, Mayapur, Pandharpur. Right? It's a very important place of pilgrimage. And I'll tell you why now. Right, Ashadi Ekadashi, Pandharpur Dham. So a long time ago, according to our scripture, there was a devotee of the Lord, actually. His name was Pundalik. Pundalik was very devoted to his parents. He served them very well until the time that he got married. Now in Kali, you'll be familiar with the cases like this as well, right? So Pundalik got married and he started mistreating his parents. Pundalik then, after marriage, he decided now he's going to go on pilgrimage, but he refused to take his parents with. He denied them that opportunity, and obviously now he's not doing his duty as a son first, never mind a devotee. So he obviously started committing offenses and would have obviously fallen away from the devotional path. Now, they took off for pilgrimage, and on the way, Pundalik stopped at an ashram, right? At this ashram, he was very well received, and he thought he's just going to take a rest, himself and his wife. They spent the night there, and that night, Pundalik had a dream. He dreamt of two ladies that came into the ashram, but they were very dirtily attired. Their clothes were very unclean. And, they just kept on fetching water from the river and cleaning the ashram and tidying it up. But before they left, they went into the inner chambers and they exited looking very, very beautiful. Beautiful, clean clothes and so opulent, and they were dazzling. They really looked very, very, very heavenly. Right? The next night, Pundalik had the same dream, or the same two ladies. And this time, when they dressed in beautiful clothes and they were about to leave, he stopped them. He begged them. He fell to their feet and said, please, I need you all to please tell me, what does this all mean? Why am I having this dream? Who are you two beautiful personalities? Please explain to me. So they revealed themselves and they said to him that we are Ganga and Yamuna, the holy rivers. And we have come here and we have been cleaning and we looked dirty because of all the sinful activities of the people who come and bathe in them. Isn't we say the rivers of Ganga and Yamuna are so holy, and when you go on pilgrimage, you must bathe in the rivers to wash off your sins. You've heard of that, right? We wash off our sins. So in the dream, Mother Ganga and Mother Yamuna, in a literal sense, showed Pundalik the dirt on their bodies. Not that they were dirty, but it was to visually show Pundalik that people are so sinful. And they turned around and said to Pundalik, you are yourself very sinful. You have been mistreating your parents. You have not been doing your duty as a son. You even refused to take your parents on pilgrimage. And when they decided to go on their own, they walked on foot, and you and your wife, you all sat upon a horse or a carriage or something like that. So that really made Pundalik think very long and hard about his offensive behavior, and he became extremely regretful. So immediately after that, he decided that he's going to make a big turnaround, and he went and begged forgiveness from his parents. And from that day forward, him and his wife started serving him very, very nicely, very devotedly. So much so that at one point in time, Pundalik was busy serving his parents. And the Lord Krishna himself, happened to be in Pandharpur. There's another pastime to this as well, why Lord Krishna was there. And Lord Krishna was running through the dust. And as he ran, the dust from the ground covered his entire body. And it made his body look dull. Therefore, he got the name of Pandu. Pandu means like pale. He had a pale complexion. His rang was pale. So he got the name Pandu Rang. Right? Rang means your complexion, and Pandu was like a dull, dusty complexion. So he ran through, and he ended up at the ashram of Pundalik. When he got there, he saw Pundalik busy serving his parents. So he tried to interrupt Pundalik, but Pundalik didn't need his parents. He said to Krishna, I am now busy serving my parents. And he threw a brick towards Krishna and said to Krishna, please stand on this brick, because the ground was wet and he didn't want Krishna's feet to get wet. They said, stand there, and when I am done with my service, then I will attend to you. So I stood on the brick, and he waited patiently. Krishna stood on the brick with his hands on his hips. Like when you're waiting now for somebody, you will just stand with your hands on your hips. That's the position Krishna had. Pundalik finished his service to his parents, and then he went to the Lord. The Lord was extremely pleased with Pundalik and said, Pundalik, you have been serving your parents so nicely. You have been such a good devotee to me as well. So I want to benedict you. I want to give you something in return. Please ask of me whatever you desire. Pundalik said, no, my Lord, I desire nothing. I only desire that you always remain here in this dham, Pandharpur. Always wait here just like you are on this brick. Don't ever move from here. Do not ever leave this dham. Do not ever leave the spot. Because I want all the devotees from all over the world to come here and get your darshan. And when they come here, they must meet you. So you must never leave here. So that is a self-manifested deity there in Pandharpur of Lord Krishna. And he is called Vittal, because Vit, I think, is a brick, means brick in, I think it's Marathi. So because Lord Krishna stood on this brick, his name became Vittala, or Vittoba, as he's commonly known as in Pandharpur, in the Marathi language. So Krishna, up till today, he stands there on that brick, and he is awaiting all his disciples, all his devotees, all his bhaktas. And if you ever get a chance to go to Pandharpur, you will definitely freely get the Lord's mercy, because he's still waiting there for us. And I'm going to show you a picture of, there's a picture of Lord Vittala in Pandharpur. See how, sorry, it just moves so fast. Sorry. So there's this picture of Lord. Can you all see? See how the Lord is standing with his hands on his hips. This is Lord Vittala. So Lord Vittala, Krishna is worshipped in Pandharpur as Lord Vittala, and his consort Rukmini Devi, who is one of his topmost queens. Rukmini Vittala is worshipped a lot in Pandharpur. Now, coming back to, look at all these pilgrims there in the river Chandrabhag. Chandrabhag, because Chandra means moon. See, Chandrabhag, it's like a crescent shape. That river Chandrabhag is crescent shaped, and it is said that it is like an architecture work of the God from the heavens. Right? That's what they say the river is like. Like it was an architectural work of the God from the heavens. So Chandrabhag is got from the name of, the word moon. It's a crescent-shaped river, therefore it's called Chandrabhag. Now you see devotees come from all over the world during this Ashadi Ekadasi, which is today. There's a big celebration going on in Pandharpur. They come there, they bathe in Chandrabhag river, and they go across the banks of this river to the temple where this pastime took place. They go to visit Lord Vittala. And on this day, Ashadi Ekadashi, or during this period rather, if you go and take darshan of this deity, Lord Vittala, you're allowed to go close up and even touch your head on the feet of the deity, which is normally not allowed. You can go right there and touch your head to the feet of the deity. The deity is so merciful. This is self-manifested deity, and he's Krishna himself. There's another picture here. See of all the pilgrims on the banks of Chandrabhag River. Okay. So this is Ashadi Ekadashi. And recently in 2019, a very nice ghat was built there on the banks of Chandrabhag, Srila Prabhupada's ghat, in honor of Srila Prabhupada. His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj built that. And the presiding deities at the Iskon temple here in Pandharpur are Shri Shri Radha Pandarinath. Don't have a picture of beautiful deities, absolutely beautiful deities. If ever anybody gets a chance to go to Bharat for pilgrimage, if you all can and time permits, include this place, Pandharpur, in your pilgrimage. Also, Lord Chaitanya, was it Lord Nityananda? Okay, I stand to be corrected. I don't know if it was, no, I think it was Lord Nityananda. Yeah, Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya who took bath in that river Pandharpur, because Lord Chaitanya went, on Padyatra all through Pandharpur as well. And there's a nice, no, and I think Lord Nityananda took initiation or something there. I'm not sure. Look, I'll find out.
I think it was Lord Nityananda.
Yeah, he took, because there is a deity form of Lord Nityananda there. Yes, there's a deity form of Lord Nityananda out there behind the temple. Taking initiation or something to that effect. But I will read on that a little bit more. But yeah, Veronica Mataji, right? I think it's Lord Nityananda, but Lord Chaitanya also went by that way. All right, so that's the story of Pandharpur Dham. Shri Pandharpur Dham ki jai. Shri Ashadi Ekadashi Mahamahotsav ki jai. Okay, devotees, it brings us to the end of class. We've got 5 minutes, so let us just discuss quickly anything that you want to on Pandharpur Dham or verses that we've read. Any other contributions? Come, let's start. Haribol? Padruta Mataji? You want to share anything with us?
Hare Krishna. What
Hare
we
Krishna.
learn from this class is that we must be detached from all our relatives, from all our desire, and if we are fully surrendered to the God, He knows what is the best way for us. Like
Yes.
Arjuna, and he accepts he must go in the war, through the war, like this. And about Ekadashi for today, I know another story. In our ISKCON is called Padma Ekadashi, and it's about a king, a very nice devotee, and his kingdom was wealth. Every citizen was very happy, and sometimes because of small sins of the citizens, they have 3 years of drought. And he went to a sage and asked what he must to do, and was the same advice from the sage to surrender fully to the God. And he started to make prayers, and after all the drought stopped, and comes the rain, and the grain started to. And for this reason, we must observe this Ekadashi, who means the day of the God, and we must surrender fully to Him.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for that share, Mataji. It's very nice. So bottom line is the surrender. Surrender is very important. And we'll find this throughout the entire Bhagavad Gita. Thank you. We've got a new attendee here, Himani. Is that a Mataji? Hare Krishna. Would you like to share something with us?
Not actually.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
Yes, welcome to Himani. Himani Maji is actually from India.
Okay.
So we're close to midnight there. Thank you for joining us, Mataji.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Under the circumstances, time constraints, thank you very much for joining us, for your interest. Okay, so if there's no other realizations, I think we'll end here with Nishingadev's pranams.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Okay, just reading the chat box. Right, let us do Nishingadev's pranams together. Can everybody see the screen? You can see it, eh? Still sharing? Okay. Namaste Narasingaya Praladala Tadaine Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Tilatankanakanaye Ito Nashingo Parato Nashingo Yato Yamitato Nashingo Ahir Nashingo Hridaya Nashingo Narasimham Nadim Charanam Prabhate Tavakara Kamalavare Aham Adbhuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubingam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Avakara Kamala Hare Naham Adbhuta Singam Kalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubingam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Nrsingadev, Nrsingadev, Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Lakshmi Nrsinga, Jaya Lakshmi Nrsinga, Jaya Lakshmi Nrsinga, Jaya Lakshmi Nrsinga, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Lakshmi Nrsingadev Bhagwan, Prahlad Nrsingadev Bhagwan ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Om Vishnupada Paramhansa Parivargacharya Stotra. His Divine Grace, Charanaravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnupada Paramhansa Parivargacharya Stotra. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakt Vrind ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Mathura Dham Mayapur Jagannath Puri Pandharpur Arvadye Kurukshetra Ayodhya Dwarika Pandharpur Dham ki Jai. Shri Ganga Mai ki Jai. Yamuna Mai ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Maharani ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Achadi Ekadasi Mahamahotsava ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vanchikalpat arubhyascha kripasindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for joining us this evening. Thank you very much to all those who are, have time constraints and, joining from so far away. It's really late there, I know, but you make the effort. But it's also recorded for everyone's convenience, just in case you can't join. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Very much,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.